The UFO topic spreads far and wide, and the person that has recently joined Danny Sheehan over on his, podcast, I suppose, on the New Paradigm Institute was a really interesting one and someone that I never really saw coming. And it just goes to show the scope of the UAP topic. So the person that was interviewed was none other than a UFC world champion called Jorge St. Pierre. Now, he's obviously a UFC champion. He's, known for his UFC work. And it wasn't until his retirement from the MMA in 2019 that his true, passion, I suppose, for the UAP topic really kind of came into the fray. So like I say, earlier in June, so about 3 or 4 days ago, Danny Sheehan, over on his New Paradigm Institute podcast, interviewed Jorge St. Pierre, and he really opened up about his passion for the UAP topic, asked some very sensitive questions with regards to it, and it really opened the floor to the topic. And if there's people who are this well known in the the sports world, I suppose, who are open to the idea of the UAP topic, it really kind of opens up a narrative to a brand new audience, and it opens the doors to a lot of other people who may look up to this person as a UFC fighter, and it opens the world up to them, and it in turn adds more pressure onto the the governments of the world to really be transparent about what's going on. So let's kind of talk about a little bit about the entire kind of thing in kind of a bit more context, and then let's take a look at some clips, right? So the topics that were covered within the discussion delved into the US national security state's emergence and covert operations by the intelligence community, and the role of the UFO whistleblowers in the ongoing efforts for transparency and disclosed on Capitol Hill. Now, Sheehan is obviously very well known for his work with UFO whistleblowers, like, for example, David Grush or Lou Elizondo, who brought a legal and advocacy perspective. Now, while St. Pierre is a retired MMA fighter with a known interest in UFOs, he added a unique angle as a public figure curious about the topic, and obviously that brings into, again, the point of opening the doors to new audiences who may not have necessarily even paid interest or paid mind to this kind of thing, but now they're looking at it being like, well, if he's got an interest in it, maybe there's something to it. Now, in Jorge's perspective, as a UFC Hall of Famer and multi-division champion, he's previously expressed an interest in UFOs, including personal sightings, and discussed in an earlier interview on Area 52 with Chris Ramsey. In this interview with Sheehan, St. Pierre appeared to be skeptical of some whistleblower claims, with people even noting that he was quote-unquote not impressed with the performance and found the discussion challenging to take seriously due to doubts about uncertain disclosure advocates. And then there's some interesting claims from Sheehan himself, who, as a prominent figure in the UFO disclosure advocacy realm, he discussed serious allegations, including claims that whistleblowers like Grush and Elizondo, for example, have informed the House Oversight Committee about UFO reverse engineering programs aimed at developing a rapid nuclear weapon delivery system targeting somewhere like Russia or China. Now, obviously, these are some huge claims that were made within the interview. So it's quite unnerving to think that that was the case. But going over to Jorge's history within the UAP topic, during his MMA career, he never really showed that much of an interest in the UFO topic, as far as I'm aware. He didn't really talk about it. It was more, his public persona really did focus on fitness, martial arts, and, his competitions. And that's how he became, obviously, a world champion and a Hall of Famer. But the interest within the UAP topic clearly became a lot more visible after his retirement from MMA in 2019. So, for example, in 2022, he went on an interview in the Area 52 podcast with Chris Ramsey, and he shared how he's had a personal UAP sighting describing an unusual object that he saw in the sky whilst driving home at night. And this was one of the first times he openly discussed the topic, indicating curiosity that he had grown, later on in life. Now, obviously, he's appeared on this interview with Danny Sheehan, who, of course, is a very prominent UAP disclosure advocate. And it really kind of highlights St. Pierre's interest within the topic. Now, obviously, it does align, his interests do align with the broader intellectual, curiosity of the entire topic. But like I say, it's really, really good to see that someone as notable and as, well known as him to be talking about the topic, because it is a very taboo topic. No one really wants to talk about it. You're viewed as a bit of a nut job if you do talk about it. You're a tinfoil hat wearing moron, or you're a conspiracy theorist, and people just kind of have this stigma around it. But to see him talk about it, it really kind of breaks down those barriers. So this is one of the clips that I found most intriguing with regards to it, for sure, where they kind of talk about Roswell and some of the incidents that have taken place. It's good to see.
One of the stories that, another reason why it has not been disclosed is because there has been a lot of harm done to a lot of people.
Oh, yes.
And if the truth been disclosed, a lot of people gonna have to answer for the crime they have done. Not only to humans, but apparently to
yes, the
NHIs.
Yes, they've shot down, or they've got a pulse weapon, some kind of electromagnetic weapon that they've used to knock down UFOs.
Is the Roswell incident was something that knocked down, or
no? That appears to have been some kind of accident. A lot of the people are dead that have done all this before, because they've been at this for 80 years. Mm-hmm. So people that actually were responsible for potentially killing someone to keep it silent, they may be dead as well. And so that that they don't have to worry about it, and so that there may be some institutional concerns. Oh well, if people in the Central Intelligence Agency ordered the killing of someone to keep them silent, then the institution of the CIA will feel that it'll fall on them, and they'll suffer recrimination. So there's some institutional protections that are going on, but there are people that are presently operational that have made decisions that they're criminally liable for.
It's pretty big news, isn't it? And it's a very interesting talking point there specifically, and you can see the intrigue on the faces. That this is quite a serious topic, and people have died in the name of advocacy for the UAP topic, and people have also died in the name of trying to cover everything up. It is quite the conversation, and it is good to see high notable figures getting involved within the topic even after their retirement. We're not going to see the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi coming out about the topic right now, because of course they've got a brand to uphold. Even if they are interested in the topic, we probably won't see them, because obviously they don't want to be labelled as a conspiracy theorist, as a nut job. It could undo the huge amounts of whatever that they've done in their careers. And unfortunately, that's the stigma that comes with this topic. It's such a shame that it is the case, but unfortunately, it just is. What do you guys think? I found this really interesting. That's why I wanted to make a video, because it's, interesting to see someone like this talk about it and, really be part of the advocacy for it. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Way down there, jump, scare the hell out of that like button and subscribe. And until next time, I'll speak to you later. Peace.